Right, so I'm back with Matt Marchant of Marchant Training Method, and he's going to take us through some great shoulder strengthening work now, sort of rehab from shoulder injury, ways in which you can strengthen the whole rotator cuff. One of the things I'm seeing loads in my clinic at the moment are rotator cuff injuries. I get referred a lot because I've done a lot of work with shoulders, and so people tend to speak and talk, and they send you people once you start getting people right. But this is going to be some great exercise once you feel you've got a bit of confidence in that shoulder joint, but you just want to get a bit more strength. You want to work some of those ranges of motion that are normally sort of missed out on your standard exercise programs. So over to Matt, and he's going to go through some of that stuff with you now.
All right. So the Clubbell is a great tool for developing not just shoulder strength and mobility, but also working on your grip. So anyone knows that when you're working with the shoulder, working with the grip is essential. You have to have adequate grip strength, and the Clubbell is definitely going to work on your grip. So we're going to go through a few exercises with lighter Clubbells, with a 10-pound and then with a 5-pound Clubbell, exercises that you can do, real slow moving exercises that are going to really improve your shoulder strength. So the first one we're going to work on is a two-handed arm cast. You're going to take one grip all the way on the bottom, keep that elbow plugged in nice and tight. Your second hand is going to go right on top of that hand. So whatever hand is on top, in this case it's my left hand, I'm going to keep that elbow flared out because this forearm is going to eventually go over my head. So I got right elbow in tight, left elbow flared out. I'm in a good athletic stance, meaning I'm not tucking here, I'm not excessive leaning, a soft bend in the knees, my chest and chin are up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the Clubbell over my right shoulder, my left forearm goes overhead, inhale, and exhale back down. Breathe in, and exhale. What you're trying to do is keep that right elbow as tight as you can as you do this exercise. And you'll go back as far as your range of motion allows you. So remember, as you drive back, let's not dip back this way, and let's not have to use our hips to bring it over just like this. Okay? So that's the first exercise, a two-handed arm cast. Second one, we'll just keep it in the right hand. We're going to do a two-handed shield cast, which when you do two hands, it becomes what's called a gamma cast. So from right here, my right elbow is plugged in tight, left arm on top. I'm keeping this elbow right here, and we're going to do just a basic version of the gamma cast, meaning we're going to go one direction only. So from right here, I'm going to go around the head and chop back down. Around the head and chop back down. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to do a single arm movement with the Clubbell. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the club all the way down. So I'll step back a little bit so you can see from the ground. If you saw the video on the swipe, I'm going to go into the same position called the silverback position, which is right here. My thumb is pointing down, and now instead of the Clubbell being off to the side, it's going to be right into the center. And we're going to do what's called the Perry cast. So from this grip right here, I'm going to stay in a good squat position. As I stand up, I'm going to bring the weight around my head, plug my elbow into my side first, and then with my wrist, I roll my wrist and tap the weight. Let me show that to you one more time. So from right here, I stand up, I bring the weight all the way around. I'm trying not to do any excessive leaning, okay? I'm up nice and straight. I bring it around. Key point, plug your elbow in first, then rotate and tap. Okay, let's go ahead and give that a try. Perfect. Then obviously you would do the left hand. We're not going to do the left hand. We're going to get into some different exercises. Let's go ahead and switch. Now we're going to get into an even lighter Clubbell. You can do this with a 10-pounder, but again, this video is more for rehabbing the shoulder after an injury and just making sure that you have sufficient strength and range of motion with lighter clubs before you move on to heavier. So you can do these with heavier clubs, but again, this video is for just lighter Clubbell work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a shoulder cast position. If you remember from some other videos, this is the shoulder cast. What we're going to do though is we're going to extend out into a flag position. Now in a flag position, when my arm comes out, I want you to pay close attention. I'm going to step up just a little bit so you can see what my elbow is doing. As I bring my arm out like this, I'm rotating my elbow pit up. If you notice that right here. Not here pointing straight ahead, but I'm rotating it up. My shoulder stays packed, elbow lock, good grip. So from right here, behind the back, extend, elbow pit is up and back. It runs down through the spine and back. Keeping that shoulder in a packed position. Perfect. Okay. So another easy one that we're going to do that will really work on your grip. Grabbing all the way down your club bell, what you're going to do is keep your club bell right in the center of your body so it lines up right here with your sternum. You're going to flare your elbow out and bring the head of the club bell onto your shoulder. Make sure it's resting on the muscle, not on your clavicle, on your collarbone. This will hurt. On the muscle, it won't hurt. Okay? So right here, my elbow's flared out. I got my hand lined up with my sternum, and what I'm going to do is raise the club bell up, one, right to center, and gently back down to the shoulder and back up. Okay? We could also do this with a heavier club using both hands, just like this. Okay? But really, we're just working the grip. Last thing I'm going to show you, now this is a little bit more advanced. We're going to take the club in this flag position, and now instead of going here behind the back, we're going to go back here behind the back. Okay, so let me show you from behind. So I have my arm extended in its flag position. I have my shoulder packed down. My elbow is rotated out. I bring it down, back. It runs the length of my spine and back. And you want to do this nice and under control. If it's not under control, I'm going to show you what happens when it's not under control. You get this, clump, 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 and you feel it all up and down your back. And again, great thing with the club bell, you know when you're doing it wrong when it hits you. So, right behind, nice and slow, and back, extend out. So all these exercises are meant to be done nice and slow, really focusing on your technique. And within CST, on a scale of 1 to 10 with technique, 10 being perfect technique, 1 being horrible technique, you want all your movements to be at an 8 or higher. That means that you really, really want to pay attention to the technique that you're doing. Go nice and slow with these movements. Again, these are meant for some sort of post-rehab work.
Well, I think you find, if I can just add on from that, most of the things I see in terms of my rehab from clients that have had personal training, and not all personal training, but a common problem we see, is you'll get your isolation exercises where you're on a cable machine or you're on some kind of fixed weight or even a dumbbell, and you'll just be working this range of motion. And you might be working this range of motion. And that's all good in the early stages of your shoulder rehab. But you've got to be thinking, this joint works here, it works around here. And there would have been something you did in the first place that blew that shoulder out. It may well have been a postural issue where your shoulders were rolled forward, putting a lot of strain on the tendons coming around the back of the shoulder, specifically supraspinatus, which is a tendon at the top. And that's the common rotator cuff injury that we hear of. And without correcting your shoulder posture, that problem is going to come back. You might be out of pain. Someone may have fixed you in terms of getting you out of pain. But if you don't correct that issue, it's coming back. So this is great stuff. What Matt's showing you, it's going to work a lot of the posterior elements or the back elements of the shoulder. It's going to work on your posture. It's going to get that shoulder back. So hopefully that injury doesn't reoccur. And that's the most important thing with shoulders. The more you injure them, the weaker they're going to get. So the more time you spend strengthening your shoulder, the better. So listen to this stuff that this man's saying.
All right.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully good luck with rehabbing your shoulders, or even just making them stronger in the first place so you don't suffer with that injury.